Homer led the league in tackles with 85. The deep ball for Darius Prince, and Philadelphia's on the board first.
On the draw, this is Bryson Allen. And Allen weaving his way all the way down to the 22. 10-yard line, 5. Mayfield, Dancy, all around. Throwing as far as he can throw it. Jump ball coming. Crazy stuff. Not this time.
And you want to be a wide receiver. You're going to have to take a little bit of a hit like that as Brown got him in that shoulder, but watch. Oh, those are teeth.
Do we have a dentist on staff here?
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us once again. We are back for another episode of Around the Indoor Football World. As always, we are going to start with some AIF coverage, the American Indoor Football League, and we are joined by the quarterback of the Columbus Lions, Mr. Marcus Brooks. Marcus, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Ducon, how are you doing this morning?
Doing great. I wish I was playing center for Marcus.
I don't know if Marcus wishes that. You look a little lean to play center.
I asked him. He says, nah.
I like breaking.
That's definitely fair. So, Marcus, let's just go ahead and, start off at the top. And I wanted to ask your thoughts on the changeover from the AIFA to the AIF and the level of competition change from one league to the next.
Besides just dropping that last A, the competition has gotten better. Games are allowed. You have to prepare a little bit more than we did last year, but it's about the same, honestly.
I could see that for sure. Ducon, do you have anything for him?
Yeah, I was curious on the fact that you haven't played for about a month. What's the mentality for the team right now after having to kind of wait and watch more film and get some more practices in, but not play a game in nearly a month?
It's definitely been a long month. Coach Daniels just does a good job of keeping us focused and having us ready. We've been off for a month from games, but we haven't been off a month from practice.
Staying busy. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, another question I had for you, Marcus, is that the AIF has announced that you guys will be hosting the AIF Championship versus the Corpus Christi Tritons. Yeah. And so what does that actually change much for you guys going in a regular season game like this? Is there any discussion on, hey, let's sit Marcus Brooks and keep him healthy? I'm teasing, of course. They wouldn't sit you, but is there any like actual game planning that says, hey, save it for the championship?
No, arena football is arena football. It's no trick plays, really. You're going to run what you run, and it's up to the defense to stop it. So we're just going to use these next two games as, I guess you could say, I hate to say it this way, but a glorified practice to get ready for the championship game.
Oof, a glorified practice. So, and last time you played these guys, you actually went up to Harrisburg, and they gave you your hardest matchup in 2 years. I'll just put it that way, in the sense that you came away with an 8-point victory, and last year you had a lot of 70-point victories. So do you view this as they're coming in here saying, hey, we can actually beat the Columbus Lions, like they've got a lot to prove, and do you expect them to bring their absolute best?
Well, I hope they bring the absolute best. So when we went to Harrisburg, we were actually missing 2 offensive linemen, a backup center, and a running back.
You should have called me.
We was down to our 4th string center.
Wow.
Not
All
quite
right.
the fifth string, Ducon. Sorry. Next time.
Dang it. Tell Coach Daniels I'm available.
I'll let him know when I see him today.
All right.
Don't expect that call though.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's awesome. So I'm curious. I mean, obviously, you spoke on it just a moment ago about that. It's basically kind of a glorified preseason game against Harrisburg today. But what do you see about Harrisburg that makes them so good, and what made them so competitive in your last game?
Well, the quarterback, Isaac Hurd,
Yeah.
he keeps the chains moving. He's hard to tackle. Once he gets going downhill, you got to get all 8 hats on him. They have a nice system. They play well together. They're gelling. It's coming along. Their defense, the linebacker is pretty solid. The D line, they got after me that last game. It was a good game. I mean, it's all I can really say.
That's completely fair. When you look across the league right now, I know that we've lost some teams and stuff like that, but what do you think about the future of the American Indoor Football League? I mean, do you think this is a league that the teams are going to want to come to and continue to build, or I mean, what are your thoughts overall?
I hope teams would come and would want to stay in the AIF and continue to play us. Well, I'm a little biased right now because if you look at the schedule, it's like the teams fold the week they're supposed to play Columbus. So, like, I hope that doesn't go into their thought process. Like, we're just a regular team. We just line up and play football. But I want to see the league grow. I really want to see Willing come in. I've been watching them on film. I'm impressed. I'm actually impressed with the Jersey Bearcats as well. I think those would be 2 good teams that should come to the AIF.
I like those suggestions. Ducon, do you have anything?
Oh, that sounds like fun. Let's go. What y'all waiting for? Wheeling and Jersey. Come to the party. Come play Columbus.
That would be fun for sure. And if Wheeling doesn't move up next season, I would be surprised. They've been really, really fun to watch so far this year. So shout out to Coach Rez if he happens to be watching. He tunes in from time to time. Marcus, I wanted to ask you a question. I mean, we've spoke a little bit off camera, and this was something I was not aware of until I asked you to come on the show. But you're actually a firefighter in your free time. So kind of walk me through a little bit how that works in terms of like practice and being available for games. I mean, I know your guys' schedule can be kind of crazy.
All right, well, I mean, it's kind of the best of both worlds. Being a firefighter, yeah, it's a little hectic, but we really only work like 9 days a month. So if practice is scheduled on a day that I'm at work, I usually just have somebody come in and hold for me. I leave, go to practice, and come back to I live an hour and a half away from Columbus. So I drive to practice, and come right back to work.
Gotcha. Okay. Man, that's crazy. Dedication for sure.
Now, what town is this?
I live in
that
Macon.
You're okay, in Macon.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm Harrisburg's coach, and I find that Marcus Brooks has thrown 5 touchdowns and it's only the second quarter, I'm starting a fire in Macon. And we're calling the fire department. We're getting you off that field one way or another, boy.
I still wouldn't be there. My crew will handle it.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Thank you.
A lot of people don't recognize the amount of sacrifice and work that takes. Man, my hat's off to you. I honor you. That's an incredible sacrifice. You know, firefighters work really hard. I've seen it. I've had to actually help them on a fire before because they were undermanned, and blowing that hose and stuff like that was really getting an old guy tired. So he handed it to me, and of course, being a world-class center like I am, I pulled that thing back and I flew back about 10 feet, and yeah. So I just saw the way that they fought. You guys are really superheroes.
I completely agree. As I told you off camera, I've got a unique view on firefighters my entire life, so I just wanted to throw that out there.
Awesome.
And I'm curious. I mean, like I wasn't sure how that would work because I know typically they're 24-hour shifts, correct? You're there all day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. So crazy that you're able to kind of make that work and still play football. I mean, that takes a lot to be able to make everything kind of all situate and work together. So looking forward to the championship game. We kind of spoke a little bit about it and a little bit about your mentality going into this next game, knowing that you've already got the berth clinched and you've got home field advantage. But how do you go about keeping motivated and still wanting to go out there and perform your best in a game like this upcoming weekend?
We haven't played in a month. We're itching to get out there. That's really it. We're tired of hitting each other. Like I said it to Duke last year, and I said it again. Going against our defense at practice prepares us for anything that I'm gonna see on game day.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. I mean, if there's one thing that Columbus has had for the past couple of years, it's definitely been a stout defense. So definitely can't argue that. Duke, on any final questions before we get Marcus out here for the day?
Just a final comment. I've got to say that I think he's right on that because that Columbus Lions defensive line is a terror, an absolute terror. And so if Marcus gets all of his practice against those guys, I think he's ready.
That's fair. That's definitely fair for sure.
I'm excited about the game. I really am.
I agree. Both the next upcoming games, with the game against Corpus Christi for the championship, and then also against Harrisburg. I'm very curious to see how that game goes as well. Okay, one more question before I let you get out of here. Do you prefer the games that are competitive, or are you still having fun, balling out when you're kind of just laying smackdown on a team?
I enjoy both. It's just the players' mentality. If we're playing good and it's going our way, good. If it's a close game, it just brings us closer together and see who's going to rise to the occasion. But a win is a win.
There you go. I like it.
Sam, he loves laying the beat down on teams. Don't let him fool you. I know he loves it.
I have no doubt. Any
He
final
loves to
thoughts for
shoot
Lions
fish in
fans?
the barrel.
Say it one more time.
Oh, sorry. Any final thoughts for Lions fans before we get you out of here?
Tonight, 7:00 at the Civic Center, we'll be facing the Harrisburg Stampede. Haven't been, come check us out. If you have been, come back, bring a friend. After the game, come down, take pictures, see your favorite player. It's a fun family environment. I don't get why anybody wouldn't come. You have nothing else to do on a Saturday night. Unless you're Krish and still at the prom.
Well, yeah, speaking of which, Krish, we'll catch you next week. But yeah, definitely wish he had made this episode. I'm sure he would have had some fun questions for you for sure. But we appreciate your time, Marcus. Would love to have you back on in the future again. Hopefully right after you guys get another championship win.
All right.
So have a great rest of your day, and we'll definitely catch you in the future.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here.
All right.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to bring on Ryan Regis, the Idaho Horseman, former kicker, current broadcaster. So definitely stay tuned, and we will go ahead and speak with Ryan Regis.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
All right. Some of you guys at home might be wondering why I'm playing a commercial from the Huddle Sports Network. Well, that's because we partnered with them to bring a couple of our shows to Roku, Amazon, and Apple TV, and this is one of them. So you are actually watching an episode that will go out later on today on the Huddle Sports Network on those TV channels, and it also goes out in a radio station in Indiana, 502 American Angel Radio. So thank you, everybody who joins us. Ryan, how you doing this morning? Can you hear us okay?
I think he's sleepwalking, Sam. You got to realize it's about 5 o'clock in the morning where he's at, and I don't know if he's awake. Of course, I'm kidding.
Are you on the West Coast, Ryan?
Boise, Idaho, Mountain Time. So I guess it's actually the same time you are. It's really close to Pacific, I think.
Let's see if we can get that figured out. Give me just a second.
Yeah.
Luckily, we got a little bit of flexibility today, given the fact that we do not have an IFL guest. Just a sec.
Yeah, no problem.
Were there any topics you wanted to cover in particular with the NAL? And I mean, no, the gap in between games has been a popular one, but we've definitely kind of harped on that a little bit.
Yeah, I think we've covered that quite a bit, honestly. Yeah, I mean, we want to say that I'm pretty excited about the playoff scenario. It's really, really cool to me. A lot of people don't realize this, but if Colorado wins in Carolina and Sioux City wins in Idaho, then you have Omaha sitting at 6-0, and you've got Carolina, Colorado, and Sioux City all sitting at 4-3, fighting for that second spot to play the championship game. And I just like that kind of stuff. I like when it's just like everybody's in it. And you know, I'm a little bit biased when I say this stuff. I'm not biased as in I have a favorite team or anything, but like I love stuff like that. If you could end up with 3, 4, and 3 teams like this close to the playoffs, it just makes everything very interesting. And yes, big boy, good morning. Yes, NAL championship is going to be something. I'll probably be there at the championship game. Might film it. Who knows?
Very nice. Very nice. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that you're going to be able to make that. I unfortunately will probably not be at the championship, but I think it's interesting how this season has all unfolded for the NAL. I mean, obviously we could sit here and talk about all the teams that have left, but the remaining teams and how competitive they've been has been impressive. I mean, like you said, Sioux City, Carolina, Colorado, they're all right there for that second spot. You know, Idaho's kind of fallen back a little bit, but you know, it's their first year in the NAL. So, I mean, that was to be expected to a certain extent, you know, a little bit of an adjustment time to the level of competition. But I honestly am very, very impressed by what Colorado's been able to do in their first year, what Sioux City's been able to do this season. And then Carolina, they're always a competitor. Same thing with Omaha. So it's definitely going to be interesting to watch the rest of this season play out.
Yeah, absolutely. And oh, let's see. I wish, Marcus. That's a 12-hour drive one way for me. Hey, man, if you want to talk to Coach Daniels and you want to talk to the ownership, and you know, throw a little cheddar my way, let's talk some more. I might could make it, but I did want to talk about Idaho just a little bit, if that's okay, Sam.
Absolutely.
So I did go to one of their games this year. It was not an NAL opponent. It was the Las Vegas Kings that came into town, and I just happened to be close enough, 4-hour drive, and so I went to the game, and I go down there at the field level, and the first person that comes up to me and says hi is Austin Schaefer. You know, he's their quarterback, and so I asked him, I was like, dude, why haven't I seen you at any road games? He's like, well, I'm a really busy contractor and finish carpenter. I'm like, no way, dude, me too. And, it was kind of cool because that's exactly what I am.
Yeah.
We're contractors. And so we talked for a little while, and he's like, look, I'm so behind on my work. And as a contractor, I know how that is. And he basically says, I just can't afford the time that it takes to travel to road games. And I did want to note that in the two NAL opponents that Idaho has had at Idaho, they've lost by a total of 2 points and 1 point. Those have been extremely competitive games, and I do want to say that Austin Schaefer makes a huge difference when he's in the game, and I don't think he's the only one that sometimes doesn't travel. Travel can get really expensive, and sometimes these owners and GMs have to consolidate a little bit and say, okay, who do we absolutely need on this trip? Or, somebody may have something going that weekend. So they have not been the same team on the road. They 42-6, they lost to Carolina at Carolina, 63-14 at Omaha. And just this last week at Colorado lost 55-18. I mean, they've been getting beat down, but in each of those games, they've had a different quarterback.
That's right.
And
aren't they with Vincent Espinoza now?
I believe so. But tonight, I think because Austin lives around Idaho and is a contractor there, I see him showing up and playing the game against Sioux City, and they have a chance to win that thing awesome. With him under the helm. So that just gives a little bit of perspective. Sometimes it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for a team in this industry sometimes to be able to get every player to go on a road trip.
Awesome. So no, that little conversation we just had was perfect amount of time for Ryan to get his audio issues figured out. He can now hear us. Let's make sure we can hear him.
Yes, sir.
Ryan,
how's that?
oh, perfect. We can hear you great. So
I got this new mic, and for some reason, it's pulling my speaker to it. So I mean, dumb monkey, don't work well with technology. Football good. That's all I know.
I love that. So it sounds like you're coming here pretty prepared to talk some football, specifically the NAL, and obviously we wanted to talk a little bit about your experience in Idaho and their jump up this year as well. So I mean, I'm kind of curious. Let's just start there. I mean, when you first found out that the Idaho Horsemen would be jumping from the AWFC to NAL, what was your reaction to that?
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely hell yeah. Two reasons. It's a League of Champions, man. Like damn near every team on it. I don't know how much I can cuss. I'll try not to. And pretty much any team that, is on there has won a championship at least sometime, and especially with Omaha where they're undefeated, had that run last year and took it all. The Cobras are our big championship team. So that first game when we were down, we barely lost to them. I mean, it was like, yeah, we can rock with these boys. The rest of the season was a little different, but no, stupid excited. And the other thing is at least coming from the one thing that when it comes to professional, college, even high school players that we never received or that we no longer get, something that we missed, which is traveling the nation. The big thing that I was excited about was, wow, I actually get to Carolina. I've never been west or east of the Mississippi. So it'd be kind of cool for me. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for me, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. There's players on there who haven't. And even if they have, I mean, it's a lot of fun just going to the snake pit and, going to, everywhere else. Everybody's environment, everybody's culture is a little bit different. And it's fun to see that, whether you're coming in as the enemy or as a friendly. So, no, stupid excited. It's good to play regional. I think in this league, I think it's smart to play regional because of the whole money issue. But for what it's worth, embrace it. Embrace as much as you can traveling across country to play a game that only lasts for so long in some guys.
Yeah.
Agreed. And honestly, that was a great point. I didn't think about that, but that's right. I mean, previous in the AWFC, you guys were pretty regional. I mean, you kind of played up in the Northwest up there. So, yeah, I mean, the travel in this league is quite a bit different, and I had not considered that. I like how you look at it, though, that, the ability to travel to places you haven't seen before is kind of a plus side. So I like that.
Sure.
Duke, any questions?
Yeah, first of all, Ryan, thanks for joining us. And my one question for you is, where have you been? There's been 3 straight games that I'm expecting. I went to your house, the Ford Center, to talk to you, and you weren't there.
And I got cold feet. Unfortunately,
is that why you didn't make it as a kicker?
I
thought the ball came water off the foot.
Actually, so I've been 2 things. So I've been icing this injury. I'm like, it's in my lower quad. I'm like, man, what is this? It feels like a cramp right above the knee. I just found out last week, and I've had this since January. And so I haven't been able to kick long distance. I'm accurate, but it hurts. So last week I just found out that I tore my ACL graft. So that's why I haven't been doing it. So that's half the reason I'm not on the field. The other half is Arnie's is the kicker for the Horsemen right now. He's got a better leg than me, or a longer leg than me. So we might be the same accuracy, but if you're going to take accuracy and power, you go with him, man. I'm a backup, and that's what I told him at the beginning of the season. It was like, it's my job to lose, but I want to mentor you to go better. I'm 37 years old. I have no business in this league, is what I tell him. So if you could take that from me, that'd be great. But you're going to have to take it from me, is what it's going to happen. And I'm not going to blame it on the injury. I think he's a good kid. I think he's going to do well, and things are going to work out for him. But if the Horsemen ever need me as of next year, because I got to get surgery done, I'll be ready, at least as like a really quick backup. The other reason I haven't been making it is in my line of work, I can't just take time off. I got to find someone to replace me. So I can't find anybody to replace me. I can't find anybody to replace me today. I even asked for a few hours off. I just can't. So it's either find a replacement or call in sick. But unfortunately, there's a lot of my clients and coworkers that go to the games. And if they see that, then I lose my job. So you haven't seen me just because of the work that I do. And you haven't seen me on the field because apparently I tore my knee back January 23rd.
I mean, that's calling in sick, right? Can't we just call them, hey, you got tore an ACL, can't make it tonight, and we need Ryan Regis commentating, man.
I tell him that too, and it's like, man, unfortunately, I feel like I get more fans than the Horsemen bring on some days, just because I get, it's not just you, I get a lot of our local fans as well as fans around the nation, which I'm truly grateful for. I love it. I love you guys, and I love everybody. I get a lot of Cobra Nation guys contacting me. He's like, man, you're gonna be at the game, man. Can I listen to you? Can I watch you? I had a guy in Florida the other day contact me. Hey, we want to listen to you. I'm like, sorry, I'm not gonna be there on the 25th. So I'm super grateful for all the fans that I have that I've acquired this year only by showing up for a few games. But unfortunately, I won't be here this tonight. I'm actually going to go to bed right after this. This is my last week of a graveyard shift. But injuries is why I'm not in the field. And my line of work, 24-hour facility. There's nothing I can do. Sorry.
That's tough. But we've all been there. Unfortunately, we were just talking about Austin, who has a very similar situation, has to, avoid the travel on the weekends and stuff like that, which I could definitely relate to that. I'm trying to get out to Southwest Kansas to see a game, and I haven't been able to do it yet. And hopefully I'll have a chance to get out there before the end of the season.
Sure.
I've only made one game for Colorado, and that's only 3 hours away. So, it's definitely
that's
crazy.
one thing I was hoping on, is like at least making Colorado games and going to away games. When I found out I was on reserves for the Horsemen. When I found that out, I was like, man, can I at least travel with the team? That way I can like co-announce in Carolina or Omaha or anything like that. I mean, of course, ask for permission. I'm not saying, hey, I'm going to go there, this is my show. But if I can at least watch, maybe even ask and get on there or something like that, I think that'd be fun. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, it didn't work out for me. It's not working out for Austin, and it's not working out for the Horsemen.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, we're gonna give Tucon a quick moment, and then in the meantime, you have some NAL rankings for us. So I'm very curious to see your NAL rankings.
Sure. So the system that I'm working, it takes the human out of it. It's the ELO system that they use for chess and the BCS, so in college football. So if we go off of that, which is what I've been doing, I do have the ranking system. So for the Idaho Horsemen itself, in the preseason, I had them ranking nationwide in the 5 conferences that we have. I'm calling them conferences, but we got them. The AFL, the NAL, the AIL, the IFL, and the AAL2. The reason I include all those is because the majority of them are big names, the AFL, NAL, and IFL. But the other 2, they also have stepped up to the polls to go ahead and, take on, win or lose, doesn't matter, but go ahead and, play the big dogs and come after us and play. So I wanted to give them a fair shake too. So a lot of them may not be ranked as high, but that's okay. I still want to show respect as like, hey, you're still here because you're competing. So Idaho Horsemen preseason, I had them ranked at number 8. And let me just bring this up right here. So in the preseason, I had Arizona 1, Iowa 2, Billings 3, Philadelphia 4, Omaha 5, Salina at 6. And I'm sorry, Idaho is at 7. Forgot to subtract 1. So that's where I had them all out. And again, this is not my opinion. This is going off of the ELO system. The way that you start with the ELO system, at least when it comes to FIFA, because FIFA does another one, I'm a huge FIFA fan, is that for new teams, they start at 1,500, which is the average for teams. I'm happy to say that I pulled up the average for the preseason as well as the rankings for midseason for where we're at right now as of this week, so Tuesday. The average team for FIFA for world football is 1,500. The average for those 5 arena teams is 1,650, which means competition is a little bit more strenuous, is a little bit harder. So I'm happy to see that. We start a little bit lower and then you move up. But those are the teams that I had. Idaho's at 7. And as the season went on, this is going to be as of May 21st. I moved Idaho down to 11. A lot of tough losses. They ranked really high because of the last few seasons that they've been doing well in their own conference. But the change, just kind of put in perspective, for every loss that you've taken, it's about 50 points. Oh, wrong button. It's about 50 points. The Horsemen has lost at least 50 points. The Horsemen has lost over 250 points. So that's huge because now they're in 10th. They've pretty much gone half the time. And as of right now, I'm showing, I believe Billings. Yes, Billings is crushing it right now. The Outlaws. I'm bringing up the new ranking right now. The Outlaws right now are number 1, and I believe it's press this button, press this button, press this button, and we're good. No, I'm sorry. Billings, I got it number 3. Arizona's still at 2.
Interesting. But Arizona's played some tough teams, don't get me wrong.
But that's the thing, too. So the way that the ELO works is that you don't lose as many points if you have a close reading, if your competition is relatively the same. So to put in perspective, a lot of us are college football fans. If Ohio and Oklahoma were to go after each other, Ohio and Michigan were to go after each other, not much of a rating drop. I mean, obviously one team will be bigger than another. You might have a team like skip 1 or 2 that separate the 2 of them, but not a huge jump. The ones you want to watch out for are pretty much the lower, like the AIF teams and the bigger teams. So hypothetically, let's just say Alabama lost to like Idaho State Bengals. Alabama's going to lose a lot of points. So in this case, if say Arizona Rattlers were to lose to the Peach State Cats, they're going to lose like 80 points off of that. And if they end up losing that 80, I mean, the Barnstormers go up. Outlaws go up, Soul go up, Beef go up, everybody goes up, and the Rattlers would go down. Let's just say they lose 80 points. They'd go from 1st to 5th.
Interesting.
So that's the ELO system that I'd be kind of working with. Again, college football uses it. Chess, I'm a huge chess guy. Chess uses it, and FIFA uses it. So that's a system I thought would be best. And to kind of correspond with that, I think college football works well with it because college football has many divisions, good, bad, and ugly, and so does arena football. So I thought that'd be a good mix.
No, I really like that. Honestly, we might have to get you on for a weekly thing and see how the rankings change.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But you also had some Horseman news?
Unfortunately, not a lot. The only real thing that I reached out to him. Nobody contacted me, and to respect of Coach Reynolds and the Idaho staff, it's a team of business. It's an absolute team of business. Way Coach Reynolds runs ship is very, very tight. You shut your mouth, you do your job, and you go from there. And I respect the hell out of him for that. There's like only 2 or 3 players and most of the captains that kind of speak out or whatever. But with that being said, I mean, you grab them by the back. If you see someone getting after it, you grab them by the collar and pull out. So the only real news that I have is that Austin's been gone for a few games. You know, life is what I say, whether it's injury or whatever. I don't know, and it's none of my business. But life is kind of hitting him. The running game's doing okay. The wide receivers game's on top right now. And honestly, if we have – so what, we're going up against some Bandits tonight. I think if we have Austin in it, I think we're going to have a solid chance on winning. If we don't, credit to the horsemen that have been coming in, the guys have been stepping up, what have you. It's going to be rough. And it's shown that it's going to be rough. And it hurts to say that as a Horseman fan and as an arena fan as well, because, I mean, you want them to be good. You want everybody, the competition to be good in arena, but it's just not showing this year, which is good for 2 things. A, it's good for the Horsemen to kind of identify the problems in the future. And B, it's good for the league to go ahead and show that, you know, it is tough in doing what they're doing. I just saw on the Pat McAfee show not too long ago that they're kind of jabbing at the AFL a little bit. Guys sleeping in cars and everything like that. We're not getting rich off of this. Like, nobody's getting rich off of doing this. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys making a lot of sacrifices in what they're doing. And as a football fan, be grateful because this only lasts for so long. These guys are – we got a lineman, Drayton from Arizona. He's our guard. Stellar dude, nicest friendly giant in the world. The dude's from Arizona, and he's taken months off from his job. I can't even get 4 hours off to commentate on a game. So credit to his job, credit to him, credit to the players around the league as well as others. But unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot. Just I hope Austin makes it. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard any injuries, so that's good, which means that I think that we're going to be very, very competitive today. And I'm really hoping on that as well.
Definitely.
Ryan, do you have any answers as to why Ryan Stokes was not in the game last week?
I do not. I reached out to him personally. I didn't get anything of it. That is a huge weapon, if not the weapon, at least on the offensive side from the game. We do need him. He's a big-time playmaker. So I do not know why he made it. Like I said, I reached out to the team. I reached out to the coaches, and I unfortunately haven't heard anything back. So sorry, I'm kind of coming empty-handed.
No, you're good. You're good. Definitely was not asking you on here for any inside info or anything like that. Honestly, I wanted to ask you about the broadcast thing. I mean, how did you end up in being involved in the game broadcasting? Was that something where somebody approached you, or did you approach somebody to be able to do that?
Yeah, so credit to Jeff Coolers from Good Boy Studios out here. He's starting his own business. He has a few years ago. As you've seen, especially game 1, he's working through some bugs. But the bugs include words are hard. New technology for both him as well as everybody around him. Because every time he gets money for this, he ends up putting it towards his services, towards the services for the Horsemen, as well as the other stuff that he does too. But no, it was last year that I started doing it. I didn't play week 1 or week 2, I can't remember. And then he came to the team asking, hey, does anybody want to help me out and kind of co-commentate? You know, I can, run the downs and everything, but I don't know much about the game. And I was like, yeah, I got a big mouth and I like the sound of my voice. I'll try it out. So everybody kind of picked on me and was like, hey, man, don't screw this up. Don't screw this up. And like immediately after, I just got, ESPN's going to be picking you up. Hopefully you'll be gone in the next year because we love you and you're working so well for us. So it was literally week 1, 2. Just started going off of that. Any day that I wasn't playing football, I was announcing. So it was a win-win for the team either way, either a winning on the field or a winning in the broadcast. So if not both in that case.
Definitely. I love that answer. I mean, it always kind of struck me as cool because, you see that happen in the NFL. You see that happen in the CFL.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen that a whole lot. I mean, I know there's been some select few guys that have made that jump, but I like it. I mean, you guys bring a unique perspective. You know a lot of the guys on the team personally, so you can add in anecdotes that, maybe guys, other people can't because they just haven't been around the team as much as you have. So I've always, enjoyed what you've brought to the broadcast. Let's put it that way. But
Thank you.
I think it's super cool, and I wish more teams did it. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be nice, especially when it comes to someone who is knowledgeable, because that's how he approached. He's like, since you got the knowledge game, you just mentioned the knowledge game. I can't think of it. He's like, you're my Troy Aikman to my other guy. I forget what it is, but. Yeah, he calls me Aikman whenever, we're off camera or what have you. But I'm just like, all right, sweet. I wish I had more rings than that, but sweet, man, whatever. But yeah, no, that'd be great. And the big thing I tell Fletcher, which is the other guy that I work with, the young kid, 22, 23 years old, dude's awesome. He started out very monotone. He's kind of like working it out now. What I told him was people are going to listen to you about how the game's going. Okay, so keep doing that. It's first down. We got X amount of yards. There's a penalty on the play. On the play. I'm tired. On the play. Keep doing you. I'm just drawing attention as an entertainment thing. So I might bring a set of audience in to kind of enjoy the game as an entertainment value, but you're crucial as in letting people know how the game's going. And with that being said, if you haven't noticed already, I like the sound of my voice. I talk a lot or whatever. I tell Fletcher, it's like, hey, if you got something to say, if you got something that you got to do, just jab me. It's like, hey, I got to say this real quick. And that's kind of the code. Like, all right, Ryan, shut up. And then, hey, we got first down. We got a flag going on and everything like that. But no, when it comes to announcing, at least with that, especially in this league, we need to bring more people in. So we need almost more gimmicks, especially the AFL right now. We need more gimmicks to go ahead and bring people in. So my energy does that for the horsemen. And Fletcher does that for the announcing for the rest of the league. At least you guys can follow what's going on. So I guess my advice is what the system that we use is, make it fun, make it about the audience, say some ridiculous things, even if you can't talk right. And, people will remember and make it fun. So that's what I would recommend. But it works for us. Something might work better for you guys. I mean, whatever. Just make it fun. Have fun because we're not going to do this forever.
I agree. And honestly, that's a great point. Definitely hope to see you on ESPN here soon. That would be
if I go, I'm dragging you guys with me. That's exactly where I'm going. I'll go, but I'm dragging everybody that's giving me camera time.
Hey, I would happily go. And I'm just saying, any teams out there looking for a broadcaster, just give me a call, or shoot me a DM. I have a feeling Ducon would probably entertain some of those opportunities as well.
Again, I'm going to sucker you guys in. You guys speak highly of me. I appreciate the time. I mean, I've been watching the Shady Network for some time, and I'm watching the Arena Football. Actually, I just got done watching your episode 5 or episode 10 a few minutes ago, and just making sure my thing's on. So you guys are doing great. But again, you guys helping me out. I want to help you guys out. So let's just say this does blow up in the next few years. Sorry. You're coming with me. We're going to make this a spectacle. This is going to be awesome. If ESPN signs me, we're all going, baby.
I love it. Well, definitely looking forward to this game today. Do you have, I don't want to put you on the spot, so if you don't want to answer this question, but do you have any
let's do it. Come on.
for today's game?
What about today's game?
Do you have any predictions about the game today?
If Austin plays, I think the over-under is going to be about 95. If Austin plays today, I think the Horsemen will be under 5 points. The The Bandits have been playing very, very well. I think we have more weapons than them, but they're more consistent than us. So I'm going to say that the Horsemen are going to be down 5 points. With that being said, I hope they put my foot in my mouth. This is a must-win game. Playoffs start today. We got 2 more games, and 1 and 5, and we need to win it all. And if we end up beating the Bandits, we go up to 2, so we're 1 under the Bandits. And Colorado needs to lose out too. So they need to come in hungry. Excuse me, coffee. They need to come in hungry. I'm hoping that they put my foot in my mouth, but I'm going to say, we'll say 56-52 Bandits. Okay. Prove me wrong, Horsemen. Prove me wrong.
Hey, well, as we've seen the past couple of weeks, you stop the run, you stop the Bandits. So maybe you load that box up and then kind of dare them to throw the ball.
Yeah. I mean, we have Fletcher on the back end, or Fletcher. We have Flanders on the back end. And he's leading the league right now with INTs. So if we can put that pressure on and force the quarterback to go ahead and pass it, because they won't run on us, there's no way. Have to go ahead and pass it on us, then I think we have a chance. But again, they're consistent, man, and it's tough. It's really, really tough. But as a football fan, this is going to be a good game to watch. This is going to be a fun game to watch. If Austin's there, it's going to be a fun game to watch.
No doubt. Ducon, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have one. It's just one more for you, Ryan. I've watched a lot of Horseman football this year, and especially when it comes to road games, I've noticed a lot of 4th down attempts when a field goal could be attempted. And I've also noticed at your home games, a 2-point loss and a 1-point loss. How much do you just itch when these situations come up and you say to yourself, just put me in, coach, I can make this kick. It'll be the difference in the game. Instead of being 1 and 5, we're 3 and 3.
Bad. Like really, really bad. Like I said, Arnie has the leg. So every time I see him up there, we're always hoping that he gets a deuce. Every single time he's up there, we hope that he gets a deuce. Because last year he was crushing it. Last year he got like 4 to 5 attempts, towards the back end of the season. I mean, he was crushing it. And now that he seems healthy and happier, I mean, yeah, let's deuce it every single time. But from the beginning, since I've known Coach, and we're going back 4 or 5 years ago, he's not a kicking guy. So it was a long shot for me to go ahead and join. Actually, fun fact, I tried out for his team 3 times out of the 4 years, and I only made it 1 year because kickers are expendable. You know what I mean? And to credit to him, it worked. You know, the Horsemen won in the AWFC for years upon years, 2 championships. I mean, it's hard for me to say no. I'm a Boise State's kicker as well. And back when I was playing, they picked Kyle Brotzman over me. During that era, Brotzman won the most points in NCAA history, and the Horsemen got the Fiesta Bowl as well as a few other bowls. So, again, it's a business that you have to kind of see it from. It hurts. There's an itch, a really bad itch. But you got to trust Coach. And Reynolds knows what he's doing. So even if he were to take out Arnie for a day and you were to take out me for a day, you might want to bite your tongue. It's like, damn it, I could put that in there. But he's got a plan, and he's been very successful. So I never curse him for it. I don't curse him for letting him, even if I was healthy, for not me playing this year. But you're not going to see a whole lot of field goals out of Reynolds. He doesn't kick it. So I don't know. Right. It's just the way he is.
All right.
That's a fair answer. Definitely fair. And you're not wrong. We love Braden here, so definitely want to throw that out there. He spoke very highly of you a couple weeks ago when he came on. Yeah,
sweetheart.
He says that you've been very crucial to his success and everything he's learned as a kicker. He spoke very highly of your relationship with him.
Oh, I missed that live in interview. I'll have to catch him in that.
Definitely. I will send you the link after this for sure. He's I like Braden a lot. He was with Billings last year for a little bit there and kind of got to know him a little bit before that. And he's fought through a lot to get where he's at today. So, you know, got a lot of respect for him and coming back from that back injury and everything that he's dealt with.
Oh, so he did come out and say it. Okay. Yeah, we both got hurt around the same time. So, I mean, life is pretty much what I was saying earlier in the broadcast with the I can't remember. Was it the Arena podcast, Arena Football podcast? Asking me, like, what's wrong with them? I was like, life. I knew what the answer was, but it's his story to tell. So, yeah, he was hurt. I was hurt at the same time, but Coach made the right call because his back's doing very much better, and I got a torn ACL. So, good call, Coach. Again, he's smart. He knows what he's doing.
That's true. That's true. Any final thoughts for us before we let you get out of here?
No, I appreciate what you guys are doing. Like I said, I watch a lot of both of you guys, so I appreciate what you're doing. Let's keep the pressure going. I know the NAL is doing better than other leagues, but I mean, whatever gimmicks, whatever we can to go ahead and bring the fans in. If there's any way I can help, let's do it. But ultimately, it's up to us. We're the ones trying to help bring fans into the seats as well as the players. You know what I mean? So if there's any way we could do it, you know, the rating system, me just being loud and obnoxious and acting like an ape. I mean, let's do it. But I appreciate all you're doing. Go Horsemen, go NAL. I hope the Bandits do well, not well enough to win, if you will. But at the same time, I hope it's a good game and everybody goes home safe, injury-free.
There you go. There you go. I love that sentiment, and definitely hope no injuries for either team, and just a great competitive game, like you said. So
yes, sir.
Definitely appreciate your time, Ryan. Would love to have you back on in the future, and we will definitely have to arrange that for sure.
Yeah, when. I'm willing to help you guys out any way I can.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Thanks, guys.
Definitely. So we're going to hit one more quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll talk some IFL for a little bit, some AFL, really just have kind of a little open chat segment since we do not have a guest.
Follow your passion first. First. It's the most fun thing in the world. You get up in the morning excited about what you're doing. And you got to be really honest with yourself about it. And you got to sit there and ask yourself, okay, what am I truly passionate about? What do I enjoy doing?
Shout out to Dee's Place, our official photography sponsor, and does a lot with the semi-pro game to get them on the map as well. So definitely wanted to shout them out, and thank you so much for being a part of our sponsorship team. So Dukan, you wanted to talk a little bit about the AFL, so I'm curious which subjects you had in mind.
Well, in particular, it's not just the AFL, it's the industry. You know, there's a lot of people that are going through a hard time right now, whether it's players that have been sacrificing everything to make something happen and find out that they don't have a bed to sleep in that night, or if it's owners who budgeted everything and rebudgeted everything and are finding out now that how do I not have enough money to really, you know, make ends meet? Do I have to take out another loan? Or whether it's just fans, just some of you fans that invest so much of your time and energy into this sport that are just like, what is going on this year? I look behind the curtain and everything just looks like it's falling apart. I just want to talk about that a little bit. Look, I get it. It's hard. It's really, really hard. I acknowledge your sacrifices. The night is always darkest just before the dawn. Let me just put it that way. It's tough. It's been a tough year for a lot of people. Inflation's off the hook. Expenses are extremely high. It's hard to make ends meet, and I get that. First, I want to say to players and owners alike that I'm grateful for your sacrifice. As a fan that gets to sit back and watch these games, I am absolutely grateful for your sacrifice. Cannot imagine how much you do have to sacrifice. So, you know, a loudmouth like me can go, woohoo, you know, or criticize or whatever it is that we do. It brings a lot of joy to our lives, you know. So I hope that you know that even if you're not getting much financially for it, I hope that you know that you're bringing a lot of joy to our lives. You know, when things get challenging for us and the weekend comes, man, our minds get to relax watching a good football game. And it's fun to see your career grow. We wish all of you players that are trying to get to the next level the absolute best, and grateful that you do have an opportunity to get more film out there. Really, when it comes to the AFL, I was fairly vocal leading up to it about how I didn't think it was a good idea to start with 16 teams. And you know, behind closed doors, how much I really didn't trust Hutton and Gaines. I'm not trying to criticize these guys at all. I think their intentions were good. The goals were too lofty. I think this was a case of too much ambition, not enough wisdom. I say that because we've seen it many different times. You know, when the Billings Outlaws came back, it was a different owner than Stephen Titus at the time, and they were in their second year, and the owner of the Outlaws also owned the Rapid City Marshals. And about 3/4 of the way through the season, all of a sudden he hit financial trouble and couldn't pay bills for either team, and so had to sell to other owners to even finish the season. And looking at some of the decisions there made me realize that the guy that brought the Outlaws back and started the Marshals, he didn't have bad intentions. Okay, he actually had good intentions, but there was just bad decisions made leading up to it. For example, you know, one of the defensive linemen in Billings was getting paid $1,200 a game, which is awesome for him, and that's fantastic for him. But there was a lot of players that were getting a huge stipend, and that's nice for players. But if an owner can't afford that, or he thinks he can afford it and finds out later he can't, that's what ends up getting some of these people getting, you know, these players getting kicked out of hotels and whatnot. So I don't fault the guy for bringing the Billings Outlaws back or starting the Rapid City Marshals. But it is, you got to budget and rebudget, and there's just a lot of things that happen that you do not see happening when you first decide to bring a team about. And so when it comes to the AFL, there's some good things. There are some good things. I don't know how many people watched the game last night, but wow, what a finish! I mean, the West Texas Desert Hawks and Albany Firebirds game was one for the ages. It really was. I'm just going to say I absolutely hate the idea of a 4-point play. It made for an awesome finish, but I hate the idea. I think it's way over gratuitous. And since I'm opinionated, I'm going to share my opinion. If they're going to be a 4-point play option, they should go from their own 5-yard line. They've got to go 45 yards to get that 4-point PAT. Otherwise, I think it's just way over gratuitous. However, it made for an exciting finish last night. I'm gutted for the West Texas Desert Hawks that had the game all but won because, you know, who knew there was a 4-point play. But there's some good things in the AFL. I love the Albany Firebirds broadcast. Those guys do it right. It's incredibly well done. The Nashville Cats are doing it right. West Texas Desert Hawks, the Billings Outlaws, and you see the Salina Liberties in Southwest Kansas, and some of these teams as well that are doing it right. Even Washington Wolfpack, you know, there's a pretty good thing going there. And so when I say anything about the AFL that's negative, I'm not talking about the teams or its member teams. I'm talking about the people that brought it back. And I actually have to credit Hutton and Gaines for the fact that they did bring it back. Now, yes, it's been a disaster these first few weeks. It's been really, really tough on a lot of people, and to see teams that got sponsorships and season tickets and all these things that all of a sudden have to be like, okay, we're going to have to try to credit this money back. Sorry, sponsors that you signed with us and you thought we were going to have a big fan base show up to games and that you were going to get some exposure, but now you're not. As frustrating as that is, and as hard as that is, I'm grateful for more arena football. I'm glad to see more markets get into the game. I want to try to encourage all of you really to hang in there. Let the season finish. It's easy to be critical when we don't know all of what's going on. I'm gutted for the Rapid City Marshals for having to cease operations yesterday. I love Wes and Rebecca Johnson. I think they're two of the most outstanding people out there, and they were doing everything they possibly could, but things are expensive. This isn't baseball. It's not soccer. Insurance premiums are higher. The gear is much more expensive. Football's a hard sport to get into. It's hard to have enough money to even function. So, Sam, I didn't want to take up all the time.
No, you're fine. Keep going. You're doing great. Everything you said is 100% on point. Honestly, like I just couldn't help but sit back here and just nod my head because when you criticize the AFL throughout this entire process, and I can vouch for this because I've heard you say it several times, it was never, oh, the AFL's making a mistake, they're going to fail. It was, they should wait a year. They should wait a year. I heard that so many times from you, wait till 2025, and with good reason, obviously. They just weren't prepared for everything they were promising. I mean, if they had been, I can tell you with great certainty, this league would have been just unbelievable. It would have brought arena football back to what it was, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when it was at its peak, and it was on TV, and casual fans are watching and going to games, and it's not a far cry from what it is now, and we would like to all get back there. It doesn't matter what league you're in, but in order to do that, you have to look a certain way. You have to do things a certain way. And, starting first and foremost is keeping your promises to league owners.
Yes.
I know a lot of people want to sit back and say, well, Wes could have budgeted better, and, Trevor could have budgeted better as well. But I mean, at the same time, the league should have never launched with any league owned teams to begin with. I think that was a poor decision. I understand why they did it. I understand that their hands were kind of tied in some of those markets. They needed those markets to get on TV, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, that either stretched the funds that were there so thin that they couldn't provide to the other teams that were established what they promised, or it also, it then put the league in an extent. It was just a foolish decision, no matter how you look at it. It just literally. That was excess pressure on the league that didn't need to be there. And I'm not saying that I didn't want to see the Philadelphia Soul come back, or the Georgia Force, or the Louisiana Voodoo, or the Minnesota Myth. In fact,
no, Sam, you're just a hater, bro. You're just a hater.
Exactly.
I'm kidding, of course.
Exactly, but that's how I feel for sure. Sometimes, it's one of those situations where it just wasn't the right choice at the right time. The funds weren't there, obviously. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in right now. But, like you said, my heart goes out to Trevor in Iowa. I know that a lot of people are saying a lot of things about him, but I know that his intentions at the beginning of the day were good. I know him personally. I know Wes personally. I like both of them as people, so I really wish them success in whatever it is they do after this. I hope that someday we see the Rapid City Marshals return, if at all possible, with Wes and Rebecca as owners. Same thing with Iowa, although I feel like it's really hard for any teams to come back from what they've had to deal with this season. And that goes for teams across the board. Unfortunately, it seems like, to be quite frank, the IFL is the only one that has kind of been the model of stability as of the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think that's well put. I agree with what you say there. And one thing I do want to mention is that there's a lot that we can learn from this situation. And it's good to, I don't know how many listeners here are actually thinking, hey, someday I'm going to own a team. Someday I'm going to start a team or buy a team. One of the things that I'd like to point out from this situation is pride cometh before the fall. And what we saw from the guys that brought the AFL back, and again, credit to them for bringing it back. But when you're making phone calls and you're talking to people that have been in this industry for a while, don't take the attitude that you're going to do it better than them. If they've got some advice, listen to them. They've been at this for a while. They understand today's market. Listen. They've got some things that you can learn. Now, if you're just like, well, we're going to do things different, that's okay to a certain extent. But if your pride is up here and you're not going to be willing to listen to those that have been in it for a while, you're doomed to fail. And no, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus in saying this, but there's a lot of people out there that do that. You know, you sit at the end of the day when you've put together a team or you put together a league, and it took so much work to get it on the field, and then it just collapses overnight. It's usually because the foundation wasn't solid enough. And look, there's been some adjustments. What is that group called? G6, I think is the ones that own the trademarks. You know, having that guy, I think it's Krish Shady that comes in, and Jeff Fisher is the interim commissioner coming in. Those guys have some good ideas on the table. I mean, and they're listening. They're actually listening. I liked listening to Jeff Fisher the other day because he specifically mentioned that he's learning the industry. Like, he's not talking about all these lofty goals that he has. He's actually taking the time to learn the industry. Listen to those who have been in it for a while. That's the only advice I can really offer. And I wish the AFL the best of luck going forward. I mean, at this point, it's get through the season, have the member teams that are still going, get through the season, keep those markets happy. Adjust in the off season, whatever that entails. And I don't mean to drag it on, Sam, but I think that when you mention the IFL and the stability that they have now, the IFL went through some stuff, a lot of stuff, you know. And they learned. That's the thing. They learned. And now they have a specific standard that they set that member teams have to come to. And I think that's why we're seeing them as stable as they are. We're halfway through the IFL season. I don't know if this is a good point to segue into the IFL, but and they've got great business models coming in. They're finding these hockey teams that already have a structure. They've already got housing set up and different things that just really works. And they're saying, hey, why not a football team? Why not just add a football team to be another tenant at the arena that we already rent, and have the players come in and stay in the housing that we already rent? And I think there's some good things going on in the IFL.
No, I 100% agree, and I think their intelligence in the markets that they've chosen to expand into has been very on point. Like you talked about, you know, bringing in a team like Fisher's Freight, who's involved with the ECHL as well, and then I believe Tulsa also has an ECHL team, if I'm not mistaken. You know, they make a lot of sense. You know, one of the things that Stephen Titus talked to me about when he was running both Gillette and Billings is the fact that when you have the purchasing power of buying two teams worth of gear, you have the power, or I guess the advantage of being able to negotiate lower prices per unit. So you might be paying overall more, but for each item you're going to be paying less overall because you're ordering a lot more. So that was some of the things that kind of, I guess, never really thought about from my perspective. But when you're, you know, like you said, you're housing a hockey team and a football team, you're probably getting a pretty good rate on those apartments that you're renting or those hotel rooms, whatever. You know,
and
same
possibly
thing with the
venue.
Exactly. Same thing with the venue. I mean, if you're, you know, one of their main tenants to taking up most of their dates, then chances are they're going to work with you and try and give you a good price to make that work and sustainable. So, honestly, I think the IFL has done a great job. And I like that you pointed out that the IFL has had stuff happen and had to get over it, because that's important to note. Every one of these leagues has had a rough patch at some point, and they've had to learn and grow from them. So the IFL should be the model of how you do that, and then you use your stability over time to make fans forget you ever had a rough patch. When you hear anybody talk about the IFL now, it's not, oh, well, back when Louisville was there, or back when Spokane was in, or, like, they don't talk about that anymore. IFL this because they're so great and everything's going well. And I can't argue that, that's not the case. I mean, the past couple of years, they've added teams, they've grown sustainably. We haven't heard any financial issues from any of these teams that I know of. Maybe some people are privy to some things that I'm not. But it seems on the surface that the IFL just comes back. It's almost that, in a good way, you can take the teams for granted because they're going to be there year after year after year. And that's something that we cannot have across the board in the arena football, no matter how hard we try, it seems like. So, shout out to the IFL. I want to give credit where credit is due. They've put the blueprint on how to make indoor football work out there. Now it's just a matter of adapting that and making it work for each individual league and how they want to run things.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. No, thank you for mentioning that. When you look, there was rumors last year that the San Diego Strike Force were going to fold, and then they pop up this year and they have a brand new field, and you're like, are they? These teams are making some great moves, and they're in California. San Diego and Bay Area are both in California. Everything's more expensive in California. So to see that Roy Choi has two thriving teams, and it probably goes back to what Stephen Titus told you, the buying power. I mean, they both ended up with a new field. So maybe Roy Choi just got a great 2-for-1 deal. Hopefully it was a buy one, get one free thing for his fields. But it's great to see these teams really stabilize. And on the football side of it, the competitiveness has been amazing. I mean, both times that San Diego and Bay Area went against each other, it was down to the last play of the game. I mean, just incredible football. The parity that existed in the West Conference last year seems to kind of have gone over into the Eastern Conference. When you get teams like the Iowa Barnstormers upsetting the Massachusetts Pirates, or the Green Bay Blizzard beating the Frisco Fighters by 29. Who would have thought that? It's fun there too. And so I want to credit the IFL as for the gameplay as well. I mean, there's been some exciting matchups week in and week out. It's been a lot of fun. So not to sound like a broken record, but they've got a standard and they've got a formula that works. And if you're another league or a team of another league, you may be thinking, we're going to do it better than them. You might, and that's cool. But look at their standard and see if you can duplicate that. Like you said, Sam, nobody's talking about what happened a couple of years ago with the Louisville Extreme. And I can guarantee you when that happened, the IFL was like, never again. Let's never set this up to where this could ever happen again. And they make adjustments. And so we got to look at some of the things that are happening in the AIF and the NAL and the AFL and say, look, they're learning. Okay. Stick with them. They're learning. You're going to get a better future product than a present product because people want to see it work.
Exactly. And I've said this many times off camera. I don't think I've ever said it on camera, but in my opinion, Todd Tryon is the best commissioner in probably all of football. And that doesn't, I'm talking NFL as well, CFL as well. And that's no slight to any other commissioner. I think the way that he's, kind of influenced this league has been tremendous. I think the way that he executes discipline is in a fair and concise manner. It's never convoluted. It's never something you have to question. It's something that just makes sense typically, which I think is hard as a commissioner when you have situations like the players jumping in the crowd and the way he handled it. I felt that his statement made perfect sense to me. Like, I understand he did not necessarily want to suspend the players in San Diego, but it's sending a message that, hey, you let the people in the venue do their job. You guys are here to play. We need you to stay on the field of play, and not create a potentially dangerous situation by hopping in the crowd, which to me, that makes perfect sense. I mean, I commend those guys for trying to stop that fight. And I commend the players for realizing that they were possibly a little understaffed at the arena at that point, and trying to quell that fight. But at the same time, I mean, the way they approached that situation, I thought was smart. And many other things that they've done in the IFL has been incredibly intelligent. So I definitely think that they deserve a lot of credit for what they've been able to do. And there's a reason they've been around 16 seasons now, and there's no sign of them going away. I mean, if anything, they're just gaining momentum. We talked about it early this season, that caffeine partnership. A lot of people aren't really talking about it much at this point, but the viewership they've gained from that has made this league grow exponentially in such a short amount of time. It's unreal. I don't know if anybody really pays attention to this, but I think the IFL since last season has grown from 30,000 subscribers on YouTube to over 41,000, almost 42,000 at this point. So, I mean, that's
incredible.
A huge jump in 1 season's time, 2 seasons time, So, I mean, whatever they're doing it right. I hope they continue, because honestly, like I said, they're the standard bearer, and we need somebody to bear that standard in order to, force all these other leagues to strive for something better, and not in a bad way. Like, hey, they're succeeding, we can too. What are they doing that we're not? Let's figure it out and let's get there. So
incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
Well put.
Any final thoughts before we get out of here? I know we've run a little long here.
My final thought is, let's have some football, baby. Let's have some football. There's some great matchups tonight. I'm excited. Thanks everybody for providing it.
Definitely. And once again, I wanted to say that as well. I didn't get a chance to say it earlier, but we truly do thank you guys all for your sacrifice, whether you're a player that's putting your body on the line for our entertainment, whether you're a coach working ungodly hours to, work a job and work, as a coach, or you're a front office executive, or you're an owner. No matter where you're at in these leagues, we appreciate your sacrifice, the time away from your family, all of that you put into these leagues and make them work. We know it's not easy, but we appreciate it, because at the end of the day, it's it's for our entertainment, and we are very entertained. That's for sure.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you everybody who tuned in. Thank you, Ducon. Thank you to the guests that came on. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Ryan. Look forward to speaking with you guys again in the future. And then we'll catch you guys next week, next Saturday, 8 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Mountain Time. We'll be right here every Saturday. Well, at least until the season's end.
Thanks, Sam.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ducon.
Everybody.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
Game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.